2021 has been a tumultuous year in British politics by anyone's standards.
Hands up anyone who's been to Peppa Pig World.
We've had scandals, sleaze and more than one surprising by-election. But what does it all really mean? I sat down with Times columnist Matthew Parris just outside of Westminster to review the year and to find out his highlights and lowlights.
By-elections are straws in the wind, and the wind sometimes changes and they turn out to have been nothing but straw. They are, however, indicative, and I think the by-elections have traced the movement of politics over this year. Hartlepool, Boris riding high. Batley and Spen, Keir Starmer by no means dead yet. Peterborough, Boris still kind of okay. Then you've got Chesham and Amersham, beware of the Liberal Democrats. And now you've got Shropshire North.
Boris Johnson, the party is over.
The sorry story of Matt Hancock, who was obviously caught on camera in his office in the Department for Health kissing his mistress. On the historical scale of sleazy kiss and tell scandals, where do you think it ranks?
I've written a book years ago about parliamentary scandals and I've made quite a study of them. And this was, I thought, pretty standard, and it went in a standard sort of way. There was a big fuss. The fellow had to resign.
Those of us who make these rules have got to stick by them, and that's why I've got to resign.
The public, when asked, said they were a bit indignant about it, but there wasn't a sort of huge upswelling of national rage. And Matt has now gone into the background, as it were. I wouldn't quite say there's no coming back for him, but he might have to accept perhaps a junior post and slowly work his way back. I think it will be forgotten in the end.
Was it your dyslexia that meant you misread the social distancing rules?
No. I can't blame that on dyslexia or anything else.
The prominence of stories of sleaze, second jobs, moonlighting, all that is a consequence of public cynicism about and dissatisfaction with government rather than a cause. Because actually, if you look over the last 50 or 60 years, there's hardly been a year in which there haven't been quite a lot of rather grubby little stories. And I don't actually think sleaze is any better or any worse than it was 10, 20, 40 years ago. But when the public are angry, when they don't like the leadership of their country, they begin to seize upon examples of corruption and corner cutting and get more indignant about them. So consequence, not cause.
Do you sense now, 21 months in, soon will be 2 years into the pandemic, that the government in general and Boris Johnson in particular have begun to lose that most crucial of quantities, the benefit of the doubt over COVID?
Well, I think it hurts with the government's campaign to control the pandemic. It hurts that the leader of the government is not believed or trusted any longer. You hear him say things, we're going to have 1 million vaccinations a day or whatever. You don't even bother to argue because we won't have 1 million vaccinations a day, and he appeared to want to deny that there had been a party when there had been a party. So right from the top, I think that a disillusion spreads down through the general public, and that has now fed into a mood of, well, there's nothing we can really do about COVID anyway. Why doesn't it just sweep through us? That's what a lot of Tory MPs seem to think. But that the cynicism, which is at the root of all that, I think comes from the top.
Of course, there'll be another by-election soon in Southend West. Not a knockabout affair because of the death of Sir David Amess, who was killed at his constituency surgery in October. You must have known him, of course.
I did know David Amess, and everything everybody says about him is right. He was a kind man, very, very generous with his time. He cared enormously for his constituents. All that is true. I tried to make the point at the time, as tactfully as I could, that hard-working constituency MPs are very important. They're saints of the parliamentary system, but they are not only or even mainly what Parliament is supposed to be about. There are things to do in Westminster. There are things to do with government policy. David didn't shirk those responsibilities, but you can become famous in your constituency for what you've done for your constituency, and that's a damn good thing. But there's another kind of fame or prominence, and that is changing the course of a nation, changing political history. And, well, I went into politics to do that and failed, and a lot of people do and fail, but that, I think, is what Westminster is firstly about.
So we've run through the big events of 2021. If I were to hand you a crystal ball and ask you to make just one prediction for next year, what do you think will be the story of 2022?
Boris will be gone by the end of the year.
Just as Prime Minister, or will you think when the moment comes he'll immediately leave Parliament and go and make some proper money?
The moment he isn't king of the world, he'll leave the throne completely, and he won't want to be involved in politics at all. He's never liked the House of Commons very much. He's never been very good in the House of Commons, so he'll be off, and I hope find excellent and remunerative possibilities in column writing. We all have an interest in that.